Welcome back. Joyce Kaufman with you on 850 WFTL, the news talk station. And of course, so much of the talk around security. And we are going to be speaking right now with a gentleman who I have spoken to before, Joe Gehr. He's with Technon LLC, the strategic security consulting firm that's located right here in South Florida. How you doing, Joe?
Joyce, great to be on your show again.
It's a pleasure, and I wish it were under better circumstances, but it is what it is. And I've been talking for the last week about the fact that forget about all of the easy, quick fixes that everybody hopes we can find. This is going to be about securing our schools, and you know a little bit about that.
Yes, Joyce. Very sad days here in South Florida, and. But look, if we pull back from the emotional side and we take a look at this from the strategic level, let's call it that way, there are really two main issues here, and people tend to mix and match between them, and of course the emotions get in the way, and it doesn't make anything better. There are two main issues here, right? We can focus on to really come up with a solution to this. You have on the one hand the attacker, okay, and how do I stop him or her? You have on the other side the place or the location or the venue that is being attacked. And how can I make it more secure so that the attacker is not successful, okay?
Right.
So, if we start with the attacker, and I'd like to say a few words on both levels. If we start on the attacker, I'm going to tell you off the bat that it's going to be a very difficult mission for you, okay? Even the most sophisticated intelligence/security agencies are having a really bad time, a really difficult time right now trying to find what is called the lone perpetrator or the so-called lone wolf, okay?
Right.
And let me tell you this, look, regardless of the attacker's motive, okay, it doesn't matter if the guy is a person that was brainwashed and he's a jihadi terrorist or a left or a right-wing terrorist, or if the person has mental issues or they want revenge, whatever the case, okay? What we have to understand when we're talking about the attacker is we have to understand what is called the threat level. And then we have to break down that word threat into its two elements. When you talk about a threat, you talk about the intent or the willingness of the attacker to carry out an attack. And then you have the capability, right? What tools can he use to carry out this attack? So, and then we can start talking, obviously zooming into these two areas. And we're going to come up with different solutions, different solutions basically. But here's the thing: on the capability side of it, and right now I know it's big debates on gun control and who should have a gun, who should not have a gun, what is a gun-free zone? Do I really want to have a place like a school have there's a gun-free zone where obviously an attacker is not going to respect those rules? Anyway, there's a lot of very important dialogue that has to happen on that end, okay? And, I don't want to get too much into that right now.
Right.
Unfortunately, it gets lost a lot into the politics as well, but there is a good amount of dialogue that has to happen on who is getting access to these firearms that maybe should not have access to them. That's
Correct.
On the one hand. That's the capability. If you go on the intent level, which is the other element of the threat, then of course, think about it, how difficult it is to go into somebody's mind and really understand if he's determined to carry out an attack. And let's say for that, we could maybe train, the staff and the teachers and even the students in being a little more aware.
But he was reported. I mean, so
stuff,
yeah.
Say something. And
yeah.
then, of course, here we can talk about also like even personal responsibility, et cetera. But then, Joyce, you can't remember that for the last many years, we've gone into a cultural/society problem here where, people don't really want to get involved. We're teaching them that it's okay not to get involved. People, young kids are confused. They don't know what is right anymore, what is wrong, et cetera. This political correctness doesn't play well into that area. But all of this, Joyce, is focusing on the attacker. And again, I'm telling you, it's going to be very difficult at the end of the day to come back and say, all right, this person is a potential attacker. Let's take care of him somehow. It's very, very difficult. I want to focus, with your permission, on the other elements we talked about, which is not the attacker, but the place or the venue that is going to be attacked.
Right.
Right. And how can it make it more secure so that the attacker, is deterred from even considering my location. Okay. And there's a long list of things we can do that we are not doing right now, and that we should do. Okay. This is something where we can do something about it now, tomorrow. And I'm just going to give you 3 quick points here. Number 1, allocate state funds for securing our schools intelligently. All right? And I'm going to get into that in a minute. Number 2, implement proactive/preventive security strategies in our school campuses. Number 3, make these preventive strategies standard. Make a standard for them, okay? And then have local law enforcement help the schools in implementing these best practices. It's as simple as that. And you're going to have naysayers, whatever, come and say, no, it's impossible. Listen, it is possible.
They do it in Israel.
They do it in Israel. And, let me tell you a little bit of what we're talking about, and then we can talk about Israel in a minute if you want. The how to do this, okay, is as simple as this. Number 1, you need a secure perimeter. Way too many schools in the nation don't even have a fence. Okay, you want to protect the kids and the staff that are studying in a specific place. Number 1, put a fence around it. Put a perimeter. Okay, have a secure perimeter. Number 2, have access control. Number 3, then we talk about implement what we call the tiers of security, which where I come from in Israel, we talk about various tiers. The first of them being deterrence. Okay,
right.
So there are many elements that are actually very cheap today, where I can put elements in place that the attacker is going to see, and he's going to be deterred from even coming near my campus. Okay, unfortunately, he's going to go somewhere else.
Right.
That's the first tier, deterrence. The second tier, once you have this secure perimeter and this fence or whatever you want to call it, you need to have detection. Okay, once I have a foreign element, a foreign person, someone that doesn't belong there, coming into my perimeter, I need to have detection. Then we have something called delay, and finally we have response. Okay, the response, by the way, in these situations has to be twofold. On the one hand, there has to be an element in-house that is trained and coordinated, including coordinated with the local law enforcement, that can act as an immediate response force that actually runs in the direction of the attacker and neutralizes the attacker in seconds. Like we saw in these unfortunate situations, law enforcement will not be there on time. It's just, we can see this over and over and over again. So you need someone in-house that can actually head out, and has the right training and the right tools to go there and stop this attacker within seconds. That's one direction of the response. The other direction is obviously taking care of either locking down or evacuating, the staff and the students into a different direction, right? But for this, you need also education of the staff, and you need this coordination with the local law enforcement. Now, the saddest thing of all is that, again, this is something that we can do tomorrow. It's a matter of determination, and it's a matter of saying, let's do something practical about this now. And again, I can give you an example. I think I brought it in the last time I was in your show. If you make a comparison, which is not the same, but you can think about it, to the field of fires in schools, casualties in fire-related incidents in schools, right? There used to be, many, many fires and many injuries and deaths in U.S. campuses as a result of fires in schools. Around 50 or so years ago, the system as a whole, society, said enough is enough. Let's do something about this. Let's attack this problem. And they did, And now as a result of that decision, today you have fire, you have smoke detectors, you have fire extinguishers, you have drills every single month, right? With the fire department that comes in and the kids go out. And guess what? You know how many fires, how many deaths as a result of a fire we've had in the U.S. campuses in the last 50 years? You can Google this.
Yeah, very few.
A big fat zero.
Wow. Okay.
Why? Because we did something about it.
Yeah.
Same thing here. Listen, the attacker, and I know it's right now trendy to talk about the attacker and and there's many really good conversations we have to have there. Listen, how many kids are being, over-medicated right now in the U.S. in the schools, okay?
Right.
What is the effect of those drugs, and the pharmaceutical experiments done on these kids, how do you when that gets combined with the violence we see in the video games, where there's basically a desensitization of they're being desensitized, right? The kids today, the video games are so real.
Absolutely.
It's almost like training in with a real person. So,
exactly.
So when the kid is
the
shooting,
military actually uses similar techniques to train killers.
Yeah, and then what messages are we passing, right?
Right.
If you shoot in these video games, if you shoot whoever's in front of you in the head, you get 10 points. If you
Right.
shoot them in the chest. So what are we doing with our kids, right? So combine that with the drugs, with the ADD, ADHD, all these
Right.
and then combine that with Hollywood.
It's a losing formula.
It's a lethal combination.
Yeah, it is. It's
So
a
at some
losing
point,
formula.
someone's going to snap and he's going to come and attack us.
Absolutely.
Are we going to be able to find them? Most probably not. What can we do? Let's make our campuses secure and let's make our campuses safe. That's something we could do.
Yeah.
And with your permission, I think maybe one of the initiatives can be, let's think of bringing personal responsibility to the people who are in power, the decision makers that can make a difference here. And I'm talking about, all the way from the boards of these schools and the administration of the local schools, all the way to state, local, and even federal. There's something that can be done about this. Why are they not doing it?
Absolutely. Listen, I appreciate, you laying it out like that for me and the audience, Joe. Thank you so much. And give out your website, because I know you offer defensive courses for, professionals and teachers.
Absolutely. We're actually, look, Joyce, right after Sandy Hook, we did several series of free courses of something we called Classroom Defense Strategies for Teachers.
Right.
And you can look that up at proactiveandprepared.com.
Proactiveandprepared.com. All right, I'm going to make sure we have a link to that. Thanks so much, Joe. Always appreciate your expertise.
Thank you, Joyce.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.